concerning Salat Al-istikhara, the hadith is clear. You can make Salat Al-istikhara at any time as long as it's not a wajib prayer. So don't make istikhara for Fajr, 2 rakats, for the Eid, for the Jummah. He said if anyone wants to do something, then pray 2 rakat other than the wajib fard prayer. So 2 rakat of coming into the masjid, 2 rakat of wudu, 2 rakat or whatever. You just got to make 2 rakat for istikhara. So what about like the companion, he went to the store and he made istikhara to buy the shoes, the shoestrings. So if a person doesn't have the time to pray, or it's not feasible, it's not easy, he's not going to go into city center and he's in the middle of the Clark shoe store and he's going to make 2 istikhara right there in front of the people. Then they're going to call the police and say, he's getting ready to do something. He doesn't. Can he make the dua? He shouldn't make the dua, because that's not what comes to us in the sunnah. He should just leave it like that. It's like the imam. When the imam comes for the khutbah of the Jummah, he doesn't pray 2 rakats to the masjid here. It's an innovation for him to pray the 2 rakats. What he does, what he does is, he just goes and says, Salamu alaikum, and he's allowed to sit down, because that's what the Prophet did. So there is a sunnah where you have to abandon something, because the Prophet didn't do it that way. Yeah, the dua and istikhara should be the way it came in the hadith of the Prophet ﷺ, but do the best that you can. Do the best that you can. Allah Azza wa Jal is not petty. Allah is Al-Jawad. Allah is Kareem. Allah, He is Al-Afu, and He loves Al-Afu. So if a person makes a mistake and he says the wrong thing, like the man who was in the middle of the desert and his animal ran off and he thought he was going to die, he went to sleep, when he woke up his animal came back. And he was so happy, he said, Allahumma anta abdi wa ana rabbuka. Oh Allah, you're my slave and I'm your Lord. The Prophet said he made a mistake from sheer happiness. He made a mistake. But Allah didn't hold him accountable for that mistake. And it was kufr what he said, but he didn't mean it. So a person tries his best to make the dua to his best of his ability. Because in doing what the Prophet did, that's what the best thing is. Ikhwani, subhanAllah, anytime I found, if you give a talk, if you give the khutbah, many people can misunderstand what you're saying, because some people have diseases in their heart, some people are mentally challenged, some people are just astray. So one person can say, I'm going to be optimistic by not studying, and I hope for the best. I never said that. I never said that. So every khutbah is like that. Making istikhara, the person says, oh, make istikhara, I'm going to open up the off license. I never said that. The religion doesn't want that. Right now in London, alhamdulillah, it's not with the people up north, not with us in Birmingham, the West Midlands, but in London, there are a group of people saying that you can break your fast at 6:30. Why can you break your fast at 6:30? Because some ulama in Al-Azhar gave a fatwa saying you have to take the ruling of the closest country next to you. And they break at 6:30, 7 o'clock. So when someone called me with that, I didn't believe it. I said, who says that except a mulhid? Mulhid. I said, send me this. They said, no, there's an email of fatwa. They sent me the fatwa. In 2002, in the Scandinavian countries, the time between Maghrib and Fajr was like 3 hours. A long time ago. So those scholars of Al-Azhar, they said, okay, you break your fast according to the people closest to you. So someone in 2014 wants to take that, and the whole community is breaking their fast at 6:30. No, yeah, people like that. So istikhara is only for what is legislated. The Prophet, he says, sallallahu alayhi wa sallam, la nadra fi ma'siyatillah wa fi ma la tamlik. You can't make an oath to disobey Allah. And you can't make an oath in what you don't own. For an example, his mother did something and he says to his mother, he says, Wallahi, I swear by Allah, I'm never going to talk to my mother again. I take an oath in front of Allah. You can't do that. That person says, Wallahi, if he comes in the masjid, I'm going to kill him on the spot. You can't make an oath like that. Wallahi, if this, that, I'm going to give his car in sadaqah fi sabilillah. You can't do that. So similarly, you can't make istikhara for what is haram. Fadli ya akhi.
expand a bit on how somebody knows that the Istikhara has been answered? And second of all, are there any other shorter du'as, something similar to, not as a substitute for the Istikhara, but there are similar du'as that would give you a similar effect? For example, asking to come closer to the truth or...
Istikhara is enough, first of all, if someone is trying to do something, let them not look for something similar. Let them look for what the Prophet said, because that's something that happened with Bani Israel, with the games that they used to play. So Allah Ta'ala put forth to them a question, do you people, the Jews, Bani Israel, do you want to change what is better? Do you want to change what is better for what is lesser, what is worse? So istikhara is there. But there are many other dua that a person can make to be helped, to be guided to what he wants. Things like that. Allahumma la sahla illa ma jaltuhu sahla wa anta tajal al-hazn shi'ta sahla. There are many dua from the Quran, things like that. But istikhara is istikhara. Istikhara is istikhara. And it's one of those sunnahs that has been abandoned for the most part. And what we need to do, ikhwani. Someone asked a question about Syria and the situation in Syria. Many of the Muslim, especially the Muslim youth, we're preoccupied with some serious stuff like serious. And I could sit here and I could give a talk about Syria, and I could give a talk about jihad and things like that, and al-wala wa bara and what the kuffar are doing and this and that. But it's going to be rhetoric. It's going to be talk. Whereas Salat Al-istikhara right now is in front of your nose right now. I mean, it's right in front of you. See how I can touch my nose right now? I can touch my nose. I can do something about Salat Al-Istikhara. Something about my situation right now. But instead of doing that, I want to talk about Syria. I want to go to Syria. I'm going to tell you young brothers here, and you know one of the problems I have, like the media, not the security people. The media, they have a problem with me because they want to sell papers. So I'm not one of those people. I don't want to be crazy, rough and tough and crazy, and I don't want to be apologetic neither. You have to be in the middle. Don't apologize for our religion. But the young man who went to Syria recently from Cardiff, and he did a tape, and he was telling other young people, come to Syria, come, come. I don't want any of you young brothers going to Somalia for that, going with Shabab, going with Boko Haram, going with Qaeda. None of you people should go to these countries to do any of that. I'm not even talking about the confusion that's in Syria. I didn't even talk about that. People killing each other. They're not even fighting, some of them not even fighting the Kafir regime. They're not even fighting, they're fighting each other. They're killing each other. I'm not talking about that. I'm not even going to discuss that with you. What I'm going to talk to you about is the young boy, 17, 18 years old, he goes to Syria, and he's in Syria, and his mother didn't know he was going to Syria. And then his mother comes on TV, BBC, what's the other channels on the news? What is it? Sky News. And the mother is saying, you're my only son. Come back. Allah will not be pleased with you for what you're doing. What are you doing? You see, this is a case of doing something and not having knowledge, not having fiqh. It's not permissible. First of all, Syria, I'm not even talking about. I'm talking about in Islam, real jihad, the real jihad. If you want to go for real jihad, and I'm talking about Syria, real jihad, you can't go to that real jihad without asking your mother and your father. You can't just go. It's not permissible for you to do that. And if you do that, you're disobeying Allah. You're disobeying Prophet Muhammad. The man came. He said, Ya Rasulullah, I want to come with you to make jihad. He said, is your mother and your father living? He said, yes, my mother. He said, go back and make jihad with your mother. She needs you. And he's the one who was telling us, don't be a chump. Prophet Muhammad said, don't be a coward. Be a man, only fear Allah. And yet he told that boy, go back and make jihad with your parents. So the administration of this masjid, we have to be responsible. We have to be responsible. We don't hold our tongues and we don't bite our tongues. That thing in Syria is not permissible for you to go over there and get involved in that. that is fawda, is confusion. Someone will sit there and say, this guy worked for the MI5, this guy worked for the MI6. That's what he understands. That's what he understands. And that's not the reality. What I'm telling you is, just like you want to fast in the month of Ramadan, if you do it the wrong way, you'll come Yom Qiyamah and that Ramadan has no impact on you. And it amazes me. You see my hair right here? It stands on the end of my head. It stands out that people would sit there and say, that guy is against jihad. Yeah, I'm against fasad, fitna. Jihad is determined by scholars. You're talking to an individual, a bunch of young people saying, there are no scholars. The real scholars are the ones who are in the mountains in Pakistan. The real scholars are the ones who are in prison. The real scholars, we don't know where they're at. No, Allah said in the Quran, فَاسْأَلُوا أَهْلَ الذِّكْرِ كُنْتُمْ لَا تَعْلَمُونَ. Ask the scholars if you don't know. But he's going to subtract the scholars from the equation. So you young brothers, get a grip. Get a grip. Get a grip. I want to ask you, and I'm going to complete with this. My wife is from Nigeria. My wife is from Nigeria. There's a group of people in Nigeria called Boko Haram. Those Boko Haram people, over 2 months ago, they went into a school, killed this security guy, and took over 230 girls and took them to the forest, to the jungle. 230 girls. Do you know that there are some Muslims who say, yeah, this is okay, this is Islam. This is okay. Sheik, can you imagine? Someone takes your daughter into the jungle. If you're going to marry her, Allah said, La nikah illa bi wali. You can't get married except with the wali, the father, the uncle, the brother, the son. And if you're going to have relationships with them, Allah said in the Quran, La tukrihu fatiyatukum ma'ala al-bigha. Don't force the girls into prostitution. But there are some Muslims who say, yeah, this is okay. Because it didn't happen to him. It didn't happen to his mother, his sister. So you young brothers, pump your brakes and relax, inshallah, get your license and take it easy. And worry about things that are right in front of your nose. Things that you have the ability to do, and things that are in accordance to this religion. Learn your religion before you start trying to do these big things. Subhanakallahumma wa bihamdika wa ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilayk.